How could you betray me, Father? After everything we had created together. And now I find myself in a place I had rallied my entire life against. An ironic twist of fate, but in a way, I find its walls comforting. I'm by myself, yet somehow I feel a presence with me.
Dumas and Munn laughed for the first time in what seemed like an age.
I understand why you come to such places, brother.
He smiled warmly before the expression faded back into a grimace.
Do not judge me, brother. I fought. I believed in our father's vision, and I was found wanting.
Dumas lamented through sorrowful eyes as he sat alone in a silent cathedral on an isolated world, far from his father's reach. Deep in thought, he looked up the stained glass windows that depicted an ancient god from a forgotten time. The building had been abandoned for millennia, but it had been remarkably preserved for its age. The last time he had been in a place of worship was when he spoke to his brother Lorgar. Despite their beliefs, he was the only brother that truly understood him. He closed his eyes in prayer as he imagined the salvation the scholar of the Imperium would offer him in his time of need. He sat in peaceful contemplation until an unusual warmth began to gently caress his cheeks. He tried to open his eyes, but he was greeted by an almost blinding light. He held up a hand to get a better look at the visage before him, but as the light began to fade, he saw the face of his brother Lorgar beaming back at him with a proud smile. Dumas dropped to his knees in awe as tears of joy streamed down his cheeks.
Lorgar.
"I am here, little brother," Lorgar responded, with the affectionate nickname he had been given upon their first meeting. He called him little brother because he was the only brother shorter than him.
You are not angry that I betrayed our father?
His dull grey eyes asked, full of shame. Why would I be angry with my brother for learning the truth?
You already knew of our father's lies.
Lorgar gazed upwards as if he were asking the gods for answers. Not now, but in time. Lorgar peered back at him with a mournful stare. I've missed you, little brother. I've waited a long time to tell you that.
You speak as if we haven't seen each other in centuries.
Lorgar simmered with an anger unlike anything Dumas had seen on his brother's face before. I finally see our father for what he really is. A cruel, jealous, petty tyrant. Unworthy of our love or devotion. A false god. A twisted mockery of true divinity. Dumas was taken aback by his brother's words. Where was the devoted Lorgar?
Are you truly my brother?
I am what he becomes.
You are from the future that these gods of chaos have revealed to me.
That is yet to be determined.
Then why have you come to me?
To spend one last time with my little brother. He replied, resplendent as ever, and to tell you something.
And what is this message you've crossed time and space to tell me?
I forgive you, and I wait for you, Lorgar replied in an apologetic tone. Dumas did not quite understand how or why his brother had taken such pains to speak with him over such a simple message, just that his brother's expression had become one of a peaceful serenity, unburdened by his past deeds. Farewell, little brother. The two shared one final moment together before Lorgar disappeared as quickly as he had appeared. Once more, he was alone. Dumas got back to his feet and sat back down as he ran a hand through his long, wiry silver hair before letting out a heavy sigh. Did he really see his brother Lorgar? Was it a psychic vision? Was he becoming delusional or even mad? The 11th pushed the thought to one side as he tried to rationalize what he had seen. What did Lorgar mean when he told him that he was right? Gods were real. He had seen them, spoken to them. The universe was not the rationalistic, orderly place that his father had spoken of, so how could he be right? He had worked his entire life to enlighten humanity by getting them to turn away from archaic religions of the past, to embrace science and reason. Dumas paused mid-thought as he remembered. He had denied his father's divinity to Lorgar at every occasion, debate and discussion. That's what Lorgar had meant by his words. In a sense, they were both right. Their father was no god. But gods did exist. Dumas laughed maniacally at its absurdity as he dispensed with any notion of sanity, cackling like a madman. His laughter echoed through the halls of the old cathedral. He was losing his grip on reality. The stress of turning his back on his father had taken a toll on his mental faculties, and now he was unsure of what was real and what was fantasy. He took a deep breath to focus his mind. Yet it provided no peace, as he was troubled with the thoughts of a wasted life dedicated to the pursuit of science. In the face of things he could not explain, under the naive belief that he was smart enough to uncover the mysteries of the universe, the revelation of the primordial truth, and the coming retribution of his father. The large cathedral door behind him began to creak open, but before the intruder could enter his sanctuary, he had fired off a volley of bolter rounds, shattering the wooden door to pieces, yet the intruder stood unharmed. From his height and stature, Dumas judged that the figure was a Primarch. Dumas kept his pistol locked on his brother.
Have you come to kill me?
Dumas inquired as his finger twitched on the trigger.
No,
Ares answered. He recognized the second's voice. Ares stepped out of the shadows to reveal his unmistakable golden and white curls and gentle blue eyes.
Well, if you shoot me again, you'll find that pistol of yours in a less than ideal position.
Dumas smirked. It was his brother. He doubted his mind could replicate his brother's sense of humor. He lowered his weapon and took a seat. It was strange that his father would send him. He was one of the only brothers who liked Dumas. He never looked down on him for being the shortest Primarch or a poor duelist. Instead, he would listen to his ideas, ask questions about his inventions, nor did he mock his gaunt appearance and pale skin. He treated him like an equal. He treated him like a brother when the rest looked down upon him.
How did you find me?
I remember you spoke at this place, the last time we were both on Terra. It seemed to have a sentimental value to you, which I thought was strange, coming from a Primarch devoid of sentiment.
Ares replied, with a slight chuckle in the back of his throat. He was right, of course. This place was special to him. He wished he had his brother's gift of reading people and making them laugh. But people adored Ares, whereas most mortals were unnerved by his awkward presence. Even the few brothers that liked him referred to him as odd.
This was the place where I first met our brother, Lorgar.
Dumar replied with a genuine affection.
I thought he was a zealous fool when I first met him, but the more we debated, the closer we became. He always spoke to me as an equal, even though he vehemently disagreed with my views, which were our father's views. No doubt that's why he tolerated them, as a test of faith.
Dumar said, with his head raised towards the old deity.
And now you don't know what to believe. So the scientist came to God for answers.
Ares scoffed.
The irony isn't lost on me, brother.
Dumar scowled. Ares placed his shield down to one side.
It isn't the loss of faith that hurts you most, is it? It's that you were wrong.
His brother knew him too well.
Have any of our other brothers told you how irritating it is to have a brother that is always right?
Ares answered his question with laughter, but he did not understand the joke.
Something amusing, Ares?
Hardly the rational response I've come to expect from you, brother.
He was right again. He had changed. Rebelling against his father and stepping out from his shadow had made him feel more human, as if he were able to think clearly for the first time in his life.
I like this feeling.
Of accepting your humanity?
Ares replied knowingly.
I always saw it as a weakness to be purged. I rejected emotion because I viewed it as the antithesis of reason. But I see now that I was wrong. A life without feeling is nothing.
A single tear fell down Dumar's cheek as he cocked his head towards Ares.
You were instructed to bring me to him.
Yes.
Ares replied in a low voice. Understanding human emotion wasn't his strength, but his brother seemed sad. But of course he would be. Out of all his brothers, Ares was the one that embodied a human quality which was missing from many of the Primarchs. The irony of it. He was the logical one, and Ares was the emotional one. And now his brother had come to reason with him, while he would be irrational. Light reflected through the window of a full moon, which gave his plain armor an almost shimmering quality.
What is to become of me?
He asked dryly.
I do not know.
His brother said with a heavy heart.
And what crime has our father charged me with? What wrong did I commit?
You know.
Ah, so you knew about them.
I did.
Ares answered with shame in his voice.
And what about the rest of our brothers? Do they know too? Was I the only one that was deceived by our father?
Dumar spat. He wasn't one to give in to his emotions, but his brother's response to him cut him deep. He felt the anger swelling up inside him.
They don't know.
Dumar came to his feet.
So you were the only one entrusted with this secret.
The idea enraged him. Day by day he worked in secret with his father on forbidden technologies, And in all that time, his father had never once entrusted him with the knowledge of chaos. That was the greatest betrayal of all. Yet Ares knew. Why not him? Why Ares and no other? His brother took a few steps forward.
Because that is my purpose.
They all had their purpose. Horus, Vulcan, Fulgrim, Dawn. They were tools to the Emperor, not sons. And he finally saw it.
So I have to have my memory erased for knowing what you know. Is that it?
His brother was silent.
I can't do it, Ares. I won't. I won't be an ignorant little pawn for our father's lies anymore.
He knew what he was saying wasn't rational. But then, where had being logical ever gotten him? It had gotten him scorned from most of his brothers, isolated from forming relationships with mortals, and in the end, it had led him to betray his father. Ares stepped closer.
If you won't come with me,
You'll kill me?
Dumas interrupted. His question was met with more silence.
Then do it quickly. My whole life has been a lie. The imperial truth. What a fool I was to believe him.
He hated his brother for being part of his father's lie. Dumas gripped his bolt pistol. He knew he could not defeat his brother in a fair fight, but if he could take him by surprise, he might stand a chance.
brother.
Dumas fired a succession of bolt rounds at Ares before he could take another step forward. Yet his brother was able to deflect the blows with his shield before he made a charge straight for Dumas. Sword clashed against spear as the two exchanged blow after blow until Ares kicked the ground from under him. Before he could get back up, his brother's sword was at his throat.
It's the only way. You have to come with me.
Ares pleaded.
Kill me. Kill me.
No, I won't kill you.
The Primarch cried. He was the smallest and weakest of his brothers, but he was never supposed to be a warrior. He was a scholar and a thinker, but his father took that away from him. He was nothing. Why continue fighting or running? There was no escape for him. He wouldn't go back to have his mind wiped and play the ignorant fool to his father's true ambition. He grabbed his blade and pulled it closer to his throat.
Do it.
Ares wrenched the sword from Dumas' grip and drew it back into its scabbard.
Why?
Dumas cried. He wanted to die. Why spare him?
Because you are my brother.
He replied with his hand outstretched. His brother couldn't bring himself to kill him. He was defying his father and faced his father's judgment for it. Dumas took his hand and pulled himself back to his feet.
So what happens now?
There was a distant sound of a gunship in the background. His father had sent another in case Ares had failed. His brother looked at him with a half smile.
Live.
But he'll kill you.
Maybe. But I won't kill you.
Ares said with a sympathetic smile as he turned to meet his maker. Dumas was convinced that was the last time he would see his brother.